All right, what is up, everybody? It's been a little while. Been like a month or two since I made a video, but I have been playing Warframe a decent amount. I did watch Tennocon and everything. Been following along with the news. Honestly, summer is just crazy with my kids doing stuff, and work has been absolutely wild. So just haven't really had time to make any videos. Obviously, the biggest thing that's happened since my last video was Tennocon. I couldn't even watch Tennocon live because it's one of my kids' birthday parties that day, so I ended up watching it later. But um, as always, every year, I think it was the 10th Tennocon, which is really crazy. Like, I mean, I've been playing Warframe for like 8 years now, I think. About maybe, yeah, I think about 8 years. And it's just kind of wild that Tennocon has been around for that long, and the game itself is what, 12 years old, 13 years old now. So, um, it's pretty amazing how far Warframe has come. You look at some early footage, and it's just wild how much better the game is now. And in terms of like overall game health, because one of the things I thought was very interesting was the juxtaposition of the Warframe direction and the Soulframe direction. Because I also want to talk about Soulframe. Um, so I think DE making the decision to make a new game and transition some of the old guard over to that in Soulframe, and then have, Reb and Pablo and stuff continue on with Warframe. I think that's probably one of the best decisions they ever made. In retrospect, I mean, one, I think Rebecca's kind of tenure as the creative lead of Warframe has been phenomenal. The patches have been, on average, excellent. Probably like the worst patch for me was Isle Weaver, and it's not because it was really bad. It was just kind of boring. I had a lot of the stuff you could get from it anyways. So, but it wasn't bad by any means. So, lots of really cool stories and everything. Um, but one thing that happened at Tennocon was a Soul Frame dev stream. There's a new preludes, and they revealed some of the changes they're going to be making, a new weapon, a new quest. I'm going to be honest, part of the reason why I didn't make a Warframe video is I've been playing a shit ton of Soulframe. Um, I am completely clueless. I am not looking up anything about the game. I'm just jumping in, completely blind. Now, I will say I have played Soulframe technically since Preludes 1. So I was actually one of the first, in the first round of invites to Soulframe. And I did play like Preludes 1, gave some feedback. I think I played like 3 or 5 or something. I've played it periodically. I didn't want to spend too much time playing Soulframe when they were basically wiping everyone's progress almost on a patch by patch basis. However, now that they said that they are not going to wipe progress unless they absolutely have to, I am, much more interested in playing it more. So I have had an absolutely phenomenal time. I've mostly been playing bow and like a dagger type thing in my as my secondary weapon with the it used to be called the Fey. I forget what the name of it now. It's like kind of the sneaky one where you can like create a clone and go kind of invisible and stuff. Like that was always my favorite pact. So that's what I've mostly been playing. But it's so fun. Like I love bows. I don't know why. I love bows and I love sniper rifles in games. And they're kind of terrible in Warframe. Like the only bows that are good in Warframe are the bows that don't act like bows. They act like a nuclear warhead strapped onto an arrow. Like Nadaruk, Paris Prime, and Karnan, which I do actually use Paris Prime and Karnan a lot. I use Dread and Karnan a lot. But those don't act like bows. Like you use them as a bow for 5 seconds to get into your incarnate form, and then you're just shooting a Kamehameha wave out of a bow, which is awesome. Like it's really badass and cool and very effective, but it's not like real bow gameplay. Same thing with snipers. All the snipers that work are not actual snipers. Of course, you have like Rubico on Eidolons or whatever, but I don't even know if that's a thing anymore, to be honest. Probably dating myself there. Um, but snipers that work are like the Sporothrix, or I use the Comorex a bunch, but they have AoEs. So, once again, the snipers that work are the ones that don't actually act like snipers. So, that being said, I thought I played with the bow a long time ago in Soulframe, and it was like not super good. They have made massive improvements to the combat in Soulframe. It is so much more fun to play. Now, of course, this is D we're talking about, right? So, like the art direction, the music, the sound design, all of that stuff is insanely good in Soulframe. And it's really incredible seeing DE be able to flex their creative muscles in a more fantasy direction than a sci-fi direction like Warframe. Even though Warframe has like some fantasy-ish stuff in it, but it's a sci-fi game. So it's really cool seeing DE take on that different genre. But the game is really fun. So I am incredibly excited for Soulframe. It's definitely not perfect right now. There's definitely some things they need to do. I mean, a lot of the stuff they talked about at the Soulframe dev stream at Tennocon is not actually in the game yet. So, they're aware of some of the things they need to improve. But if you can get a key for the Soulframe Preludes, I highly, highly, highly suggest checking it out. I've just had such a blast, literally just wandering around, exploring, doing like the dungeon type stuff, farming loot, crafting new pacts and weapons, and it's a really fun time. It also plays amazingly well on controller. Like I really like playing controller. So like I got my Doom Xbox controller here, which is my favorite one, or my Elite Series 2. And I love Warframe, but man, there's some stuff in Warframe that just does not work well on controller. And it's also just so fast paced. So, and honestly, like playing Soulframe and then playing Warframe, they almost like make each other better, because Soulframe is that more exploration focused, fantasy, very slow paced, methodical game. And Warframe's the complete opposite of that. It's like you're like on crack and you're in a, horde shooter type thing. So they do actually complement each other extremely well. So props to D for how much progress they've made on Soulframe. That's pretty awesome to see. Now, in terms of the Warframe news, the Tenno concert was awesome, as everybody expected. Now, they did announce several patches. I thought we got a pretty chunky amount of information about Warframe, which was pretty cool. Also, one panel, like I always love the panels, especially the sound one is so cool. Because DE's sound team is they're just freaking geniuses. They're amazing. So it's so cool seeing their creative process. I did particularly like the lower panel. I forget the lady's name. I'm so sorry. The one lady who talked quite a bit. It seemed like she was like in charge of Warframe's lore. She just seemed like such a sweetheart. I was she like wrote the whole Kim system and stuff. Like she seems amazing. So like man, D just has so many awesome employees. It's really cool to see. So I'm actually gonna skip the old piece really quick. I'd like to talk about the unannounced fall 2025 update, which is like a hilarious name. Like I don't know why they don't just have it be a named fall 2025 update. Um, there's two things I'm really, 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 really looking forward to. And I'll give you a hint, it's not the Lavos Deluxe skin. Like, why couldn't Lavos get an element select wheel like Cyto 9? Please, DE. Come on, man. Like he's getting a deluxe. Give him a bone. Please. Anyways, so I this is probably the single best thing that Warframe could possibly do if this quest is good and actually teaches you how to mod. um, this is what the game needs more than anything else. Everyone I have gotten to try Warframe, the biggest issue that they have is the mod system and how to increase your power. It is once you understand it, it's incredible. You know, because you're not farming like gear like a traditional like RPG. Once you have your mods, you can always use them on any new thing you get, and they never lose their power. I mean, very rarely they've been nerfed, but that's extremely rare. So I love the mod system, but it is very obtuse and opaque, and people just don't get it. So this is probably the best thing that they have ever added to the game, if I'm going to be completely honest. The second thing I'm really interested in is now what was my Valkyr rework video called? It's a good rework, but it could have been Oberon. We're getting an Oberon rework. So I love the Goat Boy. He was one of the first frames that I farmed years and years and years and years ago when I first started playing. I just love like the paladin druid combo vibe that he has. I really hope they lean into that. He's just like I actually don't think Oberon's kit is even bad. I think it's just awkward. Like Smite can do good damage, but its mechanics are really awkward. His radiation field like does do cool stuff. It provides status immunity. Radiation is not like the I mean it is probably the worst status, but whatever. You know, it's like some soft CC. It's pretty easy to make it like a huge area, but really the status immunity for your allies is the biggest thing for your two. Obviously his heal is the best part about that people would use him for in the past was the Phoenix Renewal augment. Um, However, I think one of the biggest problems with Oberon is he synergizes with a health tanking playstyle because his three gives armor and healing. So he doesn't interact with shields at all, and he doesn't have overguard. Now, the lazy thing that they could do is something like any overhealing Oberon does with his three becomes overguard. That would make him broken, but it's freaking lazy. Like I would really rather they just fix health tanking. You know, you can watch my video on health tanking, which is not in a good spot right now. If the Valkyr, heirloom and rework did not get them to do that, I hope Oberon's rework does. I'm not holding my breath, but so his three on like if health tanking was good, his three is extremely good outside of being a huge energy hog. So I think they need to adjust how the energy consumption works on his three. His four, I'd really love if his four scaled like Ember, where Ember's four, in terms of energy costs. So Ember's four costs like an amount of energy per target that gets affected. So I think that could be really because one of the problems Oberon has is energy. Is he's a very energy hungry frame, especially if you're running your three on like a lot of allies. That's why he's like kind of hard to run in a group almost, even though you should want to do that. Now obviously at this point in Warframe's history, there's a ton of energy regen mechanics, so it's not as bad as it used to be. But his four, once again, you can full armor strip with his four, which it's not that great right now because armor isn't as impactful as it used to be, but enemies need to be in your grass and you need to use it twice to full strip their armor. And it's just like it's those kind of awkward mechanics that just have Oberon. I mean, I don't think I've seen an Oberon player in literally thousands of hours. I don't think I have seen a single person playing Oberon. Um so his kits is not bad. It's just old and it really needs some updates. And I actually really like the four augment that he got kind of recently, where it makes like a damaging field under every enemy that gets hit by his four. Like that can actually do some pretty crazy damage if you group enemies up. Um, I would love if they made Smite a grouping ability. So you target an enemy, you cast Smite on them, and they get like I don't know if like here, let me see. I have Dota 2. So if we go to like here we go. Okay. So Dota IO, dang it. So IO from Dota 2, you can make these wisps that orbit the character. So I would love if Smite was a similar thing. You cast Smite on a target, and then those orbs that shoot out right now, just orbit them instead, continually doing damage. And then it sucks enemies in around that target. So you could target an enemy in your grass, suck them in with your one, and then use your four, and it would like actually do pretty good scaling damage. Now whether they do that or not, like I doubt it. I mean, I'm sure that the rework for Oberon is already set in stone, but I think that would be a cool idea. But like we'll see what happens. So that's really exciting. There's also a new frame, which I think they alluded to was going to be like a fungus based frame. Interested to see what they do there. Speaking of new frames, kind of. So I'm just gonna kind of ignore the board game thing because I don't really play. I mean, I like the idea of playing tabletop games, but I don't have any friends, so I not that live by me at least. So I never have the opportunity to do that. But speaking of new frames, is Caliban Prime, which one? Holy shit, that looks cool. Like Caliban Prime looks freaking awesome. Oh my god. But two, I do hope that they just like tweak Caliban a little bit with his prime. I don't think Caliban needs like crazy buffs. I actually think he's really good, to be completely honest. I know I did watch Brozim's tier list video and he put Caliban as like a D or something, and it's like, dude, come on, man. Like, what the fuck? I don't think Caliban is that bad. Now is he like an triple S tier frame? No, but like his sentience are like he's basically unkillable because he has so much shield regen. He has a grouping ability that also strips defenses. He has a damage vulnerability that also CCs, and his one restores his shields and stuff. So it's like, I mean, his kit is really good, frankly. Like I don't really think there's anything wrong with his kit. I just think if there was maybe like a little more interaction in his kit with the Tau status effect, that would be really cool. Like if his 4 applied heat and Tau, and like his 2 applied like cold and Tau or something like that. Like that could be really cool. Um, because it makes enemies more vulnerable to status, but his abilities don't apply any statuses besides Tau. So, that's just like a little idea. But overall, I think he looks really cool. I'm really interested if we get some more lore on Caliban. That would be really interesting because, like, we didn't really get much lore about him in the new war. Um, so those are this is the next update. The one after that is this. Now, this one, I'm not really sure. Um, what the naming convention is here. Like it seems like there's one overarching update called the Old Peace, but then it has like two parts. Like there's this Remembrance of Tau and then the Devil's Triad. Now, all right, man. Let's just address the elephant in the room. There's going to be a lot of people like Rebecca knew what she was doing with these proto frames. Like she absolutely knew what she was unleashing on the internet by making crop top himbo hero. Are you kidding? No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, Nun Wisp is going to destroy the internet. I'm sure there will be a lot of fan art of her. That'll be great. So now the frame looks pretty interesting. I'm a huge Diablo fan. Well, I was. I haven't really played it much recently because I haven't liked it that much, and also Diablo isn't actually in Diablo 4, which is kind of awkward. Um, but this does remind me a lot. It gives me like Diablo vibes. So I'm very interested to try out Uriel and see what the lore is there. Like, does it tie into Harrow and Wisp somehow? Like, are we gonna learn more about Wisp's lore? Like, I mean, presumably if she's a proto frame, we're gonna get Kim conversations with both Harrow and Wisp, which could be really interesting. Because Wisp is kind of related to sentience with the whole Rapalalis thing, and then Harrow, obviously with Rel, is directly related to the Man in the Wall. So I think it's no accident that these two frames are getting proto frames in this same update that we go back to Tau. Now this is where I think Um, this is a pretty good move on DE's part. So in 2026, scrolling down a little bit here, we are actually going to Tau. Now, we haven't touched sentience or Tau stuff. Now we've had the man in the wall in story quests, and like, he was kind of involved in Duviri and stuff. But really, since the new war, we haven't dealt with sentience. Since then, it's been like Whispers in the Walls and Duviri in 1999, and we had Albrecht and Trotty and the Man in the Wall and the Indifference. But like Tau and the sentience, like we haven't touched that in a very long time, like years and years and years. I think when did New War come out? Like 2020, 2021 or something? Like it's been a long time. So, I think it's a really cool idea that they are doing this Tau Remembrance quest where we go back to the past, and it also links in because they're using the Entrati Labs and all the Whispers in the Wall stuff, and Lloyd, which Lloyd is such a bro. Like he was so cute in the cinematics with the operator. Like that guy is great. He's really grown on me as a character. Like the more we see of him, the better he is. Um, so yeah, so this is a really cool kind of linking of all the Entrati stuff and the Man in the Wall, presumably, and Tau, which we haven't touched in a while. So I think this is going to kind of be like the bridge between where we are now and where they want to take us next year, which is actually going to present day Tau. Now, in terms of the demo, man, DE is just holy shit, man. Their art direction is just absolute cinema. Like I didn't even do this on purpose, but absolute freaking cinema. It is just amazing. Like this fight with this, what is it called? I don't remember what this thing is called, but basically instead of warframes, the sentients have these giant war machines. And like, dude, that thing looked so cool. The music, oh my god, the music. Like I gotta open this up, okay? Like let me turn the sound on here. Like just let's just skip it. Oh my god. There's one part later on. It's like down here. Like listen to this, listen to this. Oh my god. I've literally listened to this song 7,000 times since Tennocon. This is like to say something is my new favorite Warframe song. That's a really really high bar. And this song just blows everything else out of the water. It's so freaking good. The vocalist is just incredible. The music is, oh my god. DE is just keep making music. Like holy shit. Make more music. Like it's so good. But the demo is awesome. Seeing like there was some kind of peace between the operators or Tenno and the sentients and the Orican were like it looked like some Orican were complicit in that because the Dax have to follow the Orican, right? So like the Dax being split implies that there were Orican on each side of that conflict. Because the Dax can't really do stuff on their own. They just listen to whatever the Oricans say. So it implies to me that there are Orican that are in favor of being, kind of allied with the sentients and Orican that want to, eradicate them. Now, it might be that, like, because you're on Tau, everybody's far enough away from the Orican. Like, maybe the Orican didn't actually come with you. Um, but then it's like, how do you go from, did you get sent to Tau? Like, did Margulis or Ballas send you to Tau with the sentients? Like, how did you get back? Like, because it would have had to have been after the 10-0 accident. Like, you have Excalibur Prime, so, like, you have Prime Warframes. So, like, I'm not sure how the timeline fits together. So, I'm interested to see how they do that. And it also seems like, based off some of the stuff Lloyd said, these might not be 100% true, like, memories. Like, are these the memories of our Tenno? are these like tainted by Lotus somehow? I'm not really sure. It's kind of up in the air. So very, very, very interested to see where the story goes. Obviously, there was like the very dramatic ending where Adis, which is like, dude, Adis is such a, I really like that character, takes his face off and, you know, looks all sad and sentienty, and you're like, oh, that's not good. So, you know, it's very, I'm very interested to see where the story goes, and especially how they transition from this Tau memory timeline, or not timeline, these Tau memories to Tau of present day, which, from what we know, you know, the sentients are all kind of evil, presumably. Although, like, Lotus doesn't seem that bad, right? Like, Lotus is still helping us even after she remembered being a sentient, you know? Or I guess she never really forgot. She was kind of just like faking being Margulis for a while. But even like Era has a total change of heart by the end of the New War quest. And like Hunhao is like basically our freaking grandpa at this point. You know, so it's like, are sentients actually intrinsically evil? You know, like why did they attack the origin system? Was it because they wanted to take over, or was it to fight back against the Orokin? So I actually think that there have been, I'm sure they weren't intentional at the time, but I can see the breadcrumbs from previous, you know, content and previous story quests that could lead to this line of thought where, you know, the sentience, because like what, who do we know information about the sentience from? Primarily Ballas. Well, Ballas was a complete freaking piece of shit. So like I don't believe anything Ballas says. The only thing Ballas says is whatever could save his ass or get him more power. So I don't trust anything from him. So hopefully we learn more. I mean, I'm sure we will. The other thing is the Tauron Focus expansion and the Operator remaster. So I'm not sure. I think it seems like the Operator remaster is mostly the visual fidelity of the Operator, which they did look really good in the gameplay demo. The Tauron Focus expansion, that is something that's going to be interesting. So it seems like when they say Tauron Focus, that seems like it is going to be an entirely new school on your focus tree. So, because there's like a couple ways they could go about this, and maybe they could do a mix of both. You could have like new Tauron Focus nodes in the existing trees, in which case you would probably, if you're like a veteran player, like, I mean, I'm not the only one that has millions of focus just sitting there in all my focus schools, because I mean, I maxed out my focus schools years ago, and I still have random weapons that have, you know, stuff on them, so I'm still been getting focus, and there's really nothing to do with it. So if it's additional nodes in the existing trees, then people are going to be able to get those like day one. If it's an entirely new school, then, you know, we would have to grind that out, which, like, I think that would be fine. I don't really care either way. They might do like, you know, both. Like maybe they update some of the existing trees, and then you also unlock a new one once you do this quest. I'm not sure. I wouldn't mind if they took a pass at some of the operator stuff, the existing trees. I mean, realistically, like, it's so hard because like warframes are so broken, like powerful, that most of the time you really only use your operator form for a couple things. Like if you're in like a really hard mission and you really, really, really don't want to die, you can use Vazarin for the immunity and the insta reses on people. Like I find that to be pretty useful for like ETA or whatever, for example. Then there's like Naramon for your combo stuff, but that's really just used for the infinite combo counter for quality of life. People, I mean, I at times have used like the combo point generation type stuff, but it's pretty rare that you get people to actually use your operator trees. Matter Eye is pretty useful for the Zeramon missions because you have to like kill the whatever those guys are called, the Thalys or whatever. So those guys you kind of need Matter Eye for the Void Strike. So that's pretty useful. But even then, like you kind of just use Void Strike and that's it. And then you just go back into your operator form. Or your Warframe. Unairu is basically just used to like avoid using Prime Sure-footed. So you just go into Unairu and then go back, and that's it. Zeneric is basically just passive energy regen. So yeah, so it's like there are things. Oh, I guess Matter Eye is also used for the you can snapshot the strength bonus and it gives like cast speed. So Matter Eye is honestly, I think Matter Eye is actually the most useful focus school right now. I wish there were I wish there was more of a reason to use uh your operator. If I'm going to be completely honest, I really, really, really wish there was a reason to use your operator. I feel like Overguard is kind of a no-brainer. Like just have have operator amps do like stupid damage to Overguard. You know, people complain about Overguard all the time. So have amps do ridiculous damage to Overguard, which I think they do additional damage right now, but it's not enough. So like let operators just freaking obliterate Overguard or something. Like they need there needs to be some niche where like I want to use my operator more. It's just like there's no reason for me to. You know, so maybe if there's these like ultimates that Rebecca talked about, and maybe they can refresh some of the nodes, but there has to be some gameplay mechanic that encourages the use of your operator. I personally think Overguard is like the best option, you know, the easiest option. Now that being said, if you're in like a decently high level mission, your operator just pops. Like it's like you cannot survive very long. Even like spamming Void Dash and stuff, like it's really hard to live. So, you know, maybe they can like take a pass there. I'm not sure, but so we'll see. We'll see what kind of changes they make to the operator. But I mean, I'm very excited for it. I'm interested to see what they do. And usually DE incorporates feedback pretty well. One more thing that I'm personally excited for because I have an Android. I hope this comes out soon because I would love to play Warframe on my phone. Like sometimes, you know, I sit at my kids' activities and stuff, like gymnastics practice for hours or whatever. A lot of times I just bring my laptop and try to do some work, but man, it'd be cool to play some Warframe there too. So hopefully that gets activated soon. But then there was, you know, blah blah blah. Dog Days is going on right now and everything. So overall, I'm really excited for the upcoming patches. I hope I think that the two big things that I hope they address, which they didn't talk about, but the community was kind of talking about it pretty close to Tennocon, so I don't think there was enough time for them to talk about it, was the RNG loadout fatigue, which they did, I think they either tweeted about or they mentioned it in a dev short, that they are kind of aware that that's a thing, right? So, you know, like when Araxia came out, I farmed Araxia, I farmed her weapons, and I wanted to play her and I wanted to like use her and level her up and forma her, but the best missions I could run were RNG loadout based. So like, okay, so I just farmed this new frame, I just farmed these new weapons, and if I want to make the most use of my time, I can't actually guarantee I'll be able to use those. So it's just like I do think the RNG loadout fatigue is a thing. Now the other thing is health tanking is still butt cheeks, if I'm gonna be completely honest. Like it's like possible, but it's the difference is between health tanking and shield tanking or overguard. It's just so night and day. Like you go into a mission, whether you're shield gating or shield tanking, because there is a difference. Shield tanking, you're using like primed redirection and probably arcane aegis and maybe pillage or condemn. For shield gating, you're using catalyzing shields and like spamming abilities. Like they are just infinitely better than health tanking. You know, like I was messing around with Korra with like a whip claw build, and you just slap catalyzing shields on there, and that's it. You're spamming whip claw, so you're literally invulnerable all the time by just playing your character. And it's just like, why the hell would I ever want to dedicate so many mods to health tank, which is just a subpar defensive mechanic? So those are the two big, 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 big things that I hope they address. Now they have been way better, like we can see in this unannounced fall update, right? They have been way better lately about reworking things or addressing broken systems, like reworking frames like Oberon. And I don't think Valkyrie needed it that much, but I do think the reworked Valkyrie is a lot better. Or like adding this tutorial for modding, so I really hope they address those two things. And if it doesn't happen for a while and they're just starting to have those conversations, like I like if this new stuff comes out and it's all like RNG load set stuff, I'm going to be pretty sad. Like if the only way to play this Tau thing is it's basically like Duviri, like Jesus Christ, man, just let me use the weapons and frames that I want to use, please. Like, and I do not like one trick items. Like my highest use frame is like 3 or 4%. Like I play a lot of different frames, but just I'm just very burned out from the RNG thing, and it's not a difficulty thing. Warframe is not hard. It's just I would like when I sit down to play the game, I would like to use the thing I want to use, and that's it. So we'll see if they address those in the future. Overall, Tennocon was a 10 out of 10, maybe like a 9.8 out of 10 because there was those couple things I wish they had addressed, but they didn't have time to. So but yeah, looking forward to seeing what they come out with. I think, hopefully we'll have a dev stream soon and we'll get some more information on the next update. And then really looking forward to this one this fall or this winter, probably going to be end of December, like usual. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hopefully, I'll try to make some time to make some videos in the near future. But if not, thanks for watching.